Hey guys, how you going? It's been a long time since I spoke to you. I'm not sure if even some of you remember me. But obviously if you're looking at this video, you've looked at my other videos. So pretty much where I'm at now, in my journey of life is I've just finished my degree. Yay! I finished my degree in counselling, with a Bachelor of Social Sciences, majoring in counselling and minoring in theology, at a Bible college in Sydney. So I am now eligible as an intern counsellor, and I can now register with the Counselling and Psychotherapy Association of New South Wales. So that's really exciting. I'm not sure what the next step is at the moment. I'm still about $4,500 in debt. I don't have a job. I was working in youth work in residential care, but it got too stressful. Yeah, as you know, that job can be quite stressful, working with out-of-home care, working with kids that have been taken from their parents, and living with them, cooking them dinner, putting them to bed, making sure they go to school. So I got an AVO against one of the children there, or teenagers, apprehensive violence order. So as you can tell, it's quite an intense sort of role, and it's not something to sort of jump into if you're not prepared. So at this stage, I'm thinking about whether or not to do my master's degree in counselling or psychology. I'm also looking at maybe practicing, getting some clients on the side. I was also open to counselling over the internet, like via Skype through webcam. So if any of you guys are interested in getting any counselling, please feel free to message me. Yeah, at this stage I'm not sure if I'm going to be charging money or not. But the one thing I've been getting lately is, because I've just finished my degree, I've had time to spend with God, and I've been spending a lot of time with God lately, and I feel that He keeps telling me that He wants me to make more YouTube videos. Now that I've got time to do them again. Looking back in the past, I think I had like 100,000 views. Some people told me they came to know Jesus better through my videos, and I had a big following. If you look back at my videos in 2006, 2007, I got a little more knowledge under my belt now. I've been around the block a few times, even though I look quite young still. That's just because I've shaved and I've had a haircut. Yeah, but I am 29 now. I don't know if I'm starting to look it. Getting a bit of grey going on. Yeah, if you can see. Still living at home with my parents. Enjoying that journey. Had a lot of time to reconcile with my parents over a lot of things that happened in my childhood and adolescence, and it's been a real blessing time to grow closer to my family. Got a relationship now. I've been dating a girl from Colombia for the last 9 months. She's on a student visa, so I don't know how that's going to work out, but we're just trusting in God. She's a devout Catholic, with her practicing her faith together. So we go to mass, we go to confession, we pray together, we read spiritual books together, and we try and make God an important part of our life. We've both been around the block. She's 31, and so we both are now discerning marriage. And we're both trying to figure out what's next for our lives, individually and together. So, yeah, at this stage of my life, I feel like I'm in a bit of a crossroads. I'm thinking about whether to go into chaplaincy or counselling, or maybe in the corporate sector, like within recruitment consultancy, or sales or marketing, because you guys know I've got a bit of a marketing sales background. Not sure if that's where God's calling me at the moment, because I realise I can become addicted to money quite quickly. and success and status. And so I feel like God's calling me away from that, calling me back to his church, to simplicity, and probably an area where I'm not going to make heaps of money, because, Jesus says you cannot have two masters. You cannot serve both God and money. You'll end up despising one and loving the other. And that's happened a lot in my life. I've come to chase the dollar, as you can see some of my videos. I talk about money, making money, and things like that. But I found it left me empty. It was like salt water in my mouth. It just left me thirsty for more. And so now I feel like it's more about the people. It's more about ministering to others, and meeting people where they're at, listening to their problems, and speaking into their problems from a Christian perspective. So I did 130 hours of face-to-face counselling for my prac this year through my degree. And I had random people off the internet that I counselled. And what was really astonishing is that the fact that people came to me with their problems and I was able to speak into their life and talk about God right where they're at. Not like, standing up here on the pulpit and preaching to everyone and just hoping that some people resonate with what I'm saying, but listening to them, meeting where they're at, and speaking back truth and hope into their brokenness. And that's really what Christ is all about. It's all about Jesus sitting at the well. And that's my model for my counseling, is sitting at the well, how he listened to the woman. He listened to her needs and he spoke into her needs. He spoke into her life. And through that, she came to know him as the Son of God. So how I do that and make money is another thing in terms of career. Because the issue is a lot of the counselling positions, they want someone with more experience, like at least 1 or 2 years experience after your degree. I don't have that. They want people with a master's. I don't have that at this stage. So do I stay home and do I, work part-time, study part-time? Do I go and marry my girlfriend, and start a family and then try and somehow finish my master's online? Do I go and work for a little bit in a non-profit or a voluntary setting? Do I go into like the corporate sector to try and pay off my $4,500 debt? I've still got a car, I've still got a credit card, I've still got, I've been out of work for the last 9 months, focusing on finishing my degree, so that's left a bit of a hole in my pocket. So I have to sort of, I'm still in the world. The problem is, like, I was playing student, going back and finishing my degree, but now I've got to be an adult again. And so I feel like I've been tossed between like student, adult. Also, my girlfriend, when I first met her, she didn't speak very good English. And so I found there's been cultural differences between us, which has been good because I'm sick of the Australian women caught up in their feminism. And, one thing I like about her being from Colombia is the fact that women are women and men are men. And I find that we've lost that in our Western society. Men have struggled to find their role. Don't get me wrong, feminism was good. It brought a lot of equality. But I think the assumption was that men were already equal. The assumption was men already had it all together. And it was the women that were like the ones that needed a hand up. But now the men have been forgotten. The men have been left behind. We've elevated women so much inequality into equality, like the right to vote, the right for equal wages, equal status within society, that we've forgotten the man. What about the man? What's his role now? And the same with boys, all these single mothers bringing up boys, and a lot of boys without a father. There was one guy I was working with, he was 15, and like he wanted me to read him a bedtime story when I was working with him, and he called me daddy, when I went to turn off the light. And it's just like this real hole of like a lot of boys now, they're crying out for a father. And I think fathers have just been forgotten by society, that they've been pushed aside. And so as a male and as a counsellor and as a Christian, I see a real need for young male Christians to seek counselling with another young male that understands their needs. The problem is a lot of counsellors now are female, and counselling has become feminized, if you like, or you could argue that it came out of the feminist movement. And so I think we need to make it more masculine again for the men. And I think a lot more people would come to a counsellor and ask for help if they felt like that person understood their needs. And I think males, like I myself, I wanted counselling a couple of years ago, and I was struggling to find a male counsellor, a male Christian counsellor, and I only found one in my area, and he was $90 an hour. So, it's expensive. And it's sad, because if I had a man in my life, like an older male that I could talk to, I wouldn't need a counsellor. But the thing is, my father is still working through a lot of his own issues. He doesn't have the strength or the wisdom to help me with mine. And so essentially I'm left without a father in that sense. And I'm sure there's a lot of men out there that are seeking a father figure in their life. And they turn to like Hollywood or sports, football stars, basketball, soccer, all these sort of pseudo role models that we have in society. And what I've come to realize is Jesus is the ultimate counselor. He's the only one that's really going to ever understand you. He's the only one that's always been your father. Even if your father has never been the perfect father, even if your father's hurt you, I've come to find that Jesus was truly the father. And that's why we call the priest in the Catholic Church, we call him Father, because essentially he's our father. And I encourage anyone who's in a parish, who goes to church and is Catholic, to really reach out to their priest as father, to really to give him a chance to be your father, to be your mentor, to be your counsellor. Because counsellors came about because people walked away from the church. People walked away from God, they walked away from the church, and they said, well, I've still got problems. I still need help. So they came up with psychology. From psychology, you had counselling. It came out in the 60s. And so it was a replacement of the priest, if you like. It was a replacement of the role of the church, if you like. But the problem is it's become too medicalized. It's all about medication now. It's not about the journey. It's not about the process. It's about popping a pill and making it better. And one of the issues I have now is the fact that there is so much demand by government-funded counselling and things like that, of this sort of 10 sessions and that's it, or 6 sessions and that's it. It's like, here's a person, you need to fix them in 6 sessions, or, you're not going to get any support from the government. I don't know if that's the same in other countries, but here in Australia, that's how it works. That the government will pay someone if they go to a GP and they say, I need a counsellor or a psychologist. The government will pay for the first 6 sessions, and then after that, they have to pay for themselves. And a lot of people can't afford it. I mean, psychologists can charge up to $200, $150 to $100 an hour. And people don't have that sort of money. And what pressure it puts on a psychologist or a counsellor to help someone within 6 sessions. And that's not real help. Jesus doesn't take us on for 6 hours and then says, okay, see you later, have a good one. No, he takes us into himself for the rest of our life, and we walk with him. So people don't just need a counsellor, they need a friend, they need a mentor, they need an elder. And the church has let a lot of people down with the pedophilia that we have in the church today. And a lot of the priests, I don't think, have realized their role as a father to their flock, their role as a friend and as a mentor, as Christ, essentially. Christ is not just a theologian. Christ is not just a leader. He was a friend. He was a brother. He is a friend and a brother to us. And essentially a father, because God the Father lives in him. So I've probably spoken enough for now. I'm just having a bit of a rant. I'd like to see your comments, to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to keep making videos even if there's no people to view them, purely because God has asked me to do this. He wants me to share my journey with others, and I'm just going to let the Holy Spirit lead people to my videos. So I pray you all have a blessed day, and one thing I will say to you is, if you have been hurt by the church, the Christian, Protestant, Catholic, whatever, do not forget God. God is not the church. God gave us the church. Christ gave us the church, but he is not the church. So start with Jesus. Cry out to him. Ask him to come into your life and to bring you into truth, to bring you into wisdom, to give you discernment, to help you know what's true and what's false. To ask him to be your friend and be your counselor. Then, from there, you will know what to do next. So don't get caught up in the politics of the church, in the theological discourse of atheism and creationism and evolution and all these sort of ideologies. It's not ideology, it's a person. Christianity is not an ideology, it's a person, and his name is Jesus. God bless you.